Selamat sejahtera and good day everyone. I'm Hui Yin and my group mate is Aziah binti Arizon. We are from group 2 and we would like to present our topic today, which is the evolution of bryophytes, colonization of land. I would like to begin my video presentation by showing you guys the types of bryophytes. There are actually only 3 types of bryophytes. The first one is liverworts, which is this one, the hornworts, and the mosses. The same goes for this diagram. This is the hornworts, liverworts, and mosses. Moving on to the next slide. This is a brief introduction to bryophytes. What exactly is bryophytes? Bryophytes are actually the first plants to colonize land. Bryophytes lack vascular tissue, so they are often called non-vascular plants. Bryophytes only superficially appear to have roots, stems, and leaves, because by definition, through roots, stems, and leaves, they must contain vascular tissue. Vascular tissue is specialized for transportation of water and organic nutrients throughout the plant body. Vascular tissue also provides support to the plant body. So due to lack of support to the plant body, bryophytes are typically short and low-lying. For example, some mosses, they only grow to a maximum length of 20 centimeters. Bryophyte bodies are covered with cuticle. They have apical tissue that produces complex tissues. Bryophytes are actually the only land plants in which the gametophyte is dominant. Why do I say so? As you guys can see in this diagram, the whole stalk here is actually the gametophytes, and the upper structure here is called the sporophytes, which is the spore-producing form in non-flowering plants like bryophytes. As we all know, there are also 2 different sex organs in non-flowering plants like bryophytes. The male sex organ is called the antheridia, and the female sex organ is called the archegonia. Antheridia produces flagellated sperm. It requires a moist environment for the sperms to swim to the eggs in the archegonia for fertilization to occur. It's basically the same concept as human sperms from the males. They need a moist environment for the sperms to swim to the ovums produced by the females in the fallopian tube. So it applies for non-flowering plants like bryophytes too. It is the same concept. So because of the lack of vascular tissue in bryophytes and also the presence of flagellated sperm, we are actually more prone to find bryophytes in moist locations. But actually, bryophytes, they also survive well in harsh environments because bryophytes, they produce asexually too. Okay, so now we will move on to the first kind of bryophytes, which is the liverworts. The name of liverworts actually refers to the lobes of the thallus. It also resembles the lobes of the liver, so this is why it is called the liverworts. The liverworts is divided into 2 different groups. The first group is called the thallus liverworts, which has flattened bodies. And the second group is called the leafy liverworts, which superficially resembles mosses. Actually, the majority of liverwort species are the leafy types. An example of the liverworts are the genus Macantha. The liverworts in the genus Macantha have a thin thallus, about 30 cells thick in the center. Each branch lobe of the thallus is approximately 1 centimeter in length. The upper surface is divided into a diamond-shaped segments with a small pore, and the lower surface bears numerous hair-like extensions, which is these, like rhizoids, that project into the soil. Rhizoids serve in anchorage and assist in the absorption of water. Anchorage basically means the attachment into the soil. Macantha species reproduce both asexually and sexually. We will first discuss about the asexual reproduction. Gyma cups on the upper surface of the thallus contain gyma. which are groups of cells that detach from the thallus and can start grow into a new plant, which is this. This is called the gyma. Next, we will discuss about the sexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction actually depends on the male and female sex organs, which are antheridia and archegonia respectively. This is discussed previously. As you guys can see in this diagram, sexual reproduction also depends on the disc-headed stalks, which is this one, that bear the male gametophyte, which is antheridium, and the umbrella-headed stalks that bears the female gametophyte, which is archegonium. The same goes for this diagram. These headed stalks bear the male gametophyte, which is antheridium. This is the location of the sperms. And the umbrella-headed stalks, they bear archegonium, which is the location of the egg. So following fertilization, tiny sporophytes composed of a foot, a short stalk, and a capsule will begin growing within the female gametophyte, which is archegonium here. Wind-blown spores are produced within the capsule. So this will actually be explained more by my group mate, which is Aziah, later on. So that's all from me. I will pass it to my group mate, Aziah. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, I'm Aziah. So now I'm going to continue the slides. The next slide is about the hornworts. They live in the trees or moist in well-shaded areas. They have like a small sporophyte rising out from the thin gametophytes that carry out photosynthesis. So this is the sporophyte and this is the gametophyte. Okay, hornworts have a symbiotic relationship with the cyanobacteria, which is different from the plants because it can fix the nitrogen gas from the air. That's the function of cyanobacteria. It can bypass alternation of generations by reproducing asexually through fragmentation. So the example of hornworts is the genus Athoceras. So if you look in the picture, this is the Bryophytes. It produces the spores. The flatted thallus-like gametophyte. It resembles a liverwort. The slender Bryophytes grow out of the flatted gametophyte. If you guys have been into an old house, you guys can find like a greenish and moisty plant that attach to the old brick walls. That is called mosses. So mosses is the largest group of non-vascular plants. It's like over 15,000 of species. Mosses divides into 3 groups, which is peat mosses, granite mosses, and true mosses. Some of them prefer in damp, shaded areas, but also some of them survive in deserts, bogs, and streams. In dry environment, it will become shriveled, turn into brown, and look dead. But in moist environment, mosses will resume its metabolic activity and turn into green. They have undeveloped basic form of vascular tissue. It is more closely related to the vascular plants than liverworts and hornworts. Its spores disperse new gametophyte generation via air currents. A moss sporophyte is always attached to the gametophyte. A sporophyte at young, it is green and photosynthetic. A sporophyte at maturity, it is brown and non-photosynthetic. These 2 points, I will explain more details later in the moss life cycle. So next, so this is the life cycle of moss. You can refer to the slide or the next slide. So now I'm going to explain more details so that you can understand it easily. It begins in here, the gametophytes, where we have the male and the female. So the male will shoot out the antheridia, while the female will shoot out the archegonia. So from the antheridia, the sperm will release and swim into the extra water, and it will go into the archegonia where the eggs inside of it. So it will combine with the egg and form a zygote. So this zygote will develop through mitosis and form a sporophyte. It's like a stalk, and it buried in the female gametophyte tissue, while the upper capsule we call it as sporogym. So this sporogym where the meiosis occurs and spores are produced out, which is here. The spores will disperse, and germinates into a male or female protonema, which we also call it as the immature gametophyte. Then it will develop through mitosis and form the gametophyte, which is male or female. So the cycle will continue until the new gametophyte generation produced. I think that's all from us. So thank you for your attention and have a good day.